All right, so this is going to be the reaction that you guys have been asking me to do. I have not seen this. All I did was get up to the part when he starts talking to Destiny, and that's when we actually are gonna, start this video. Let's see, what do we got here?
Chillin'.
This is Rob, what's his name? I keep forgetting, Jesus Christ, Rob Noerr. So they're going to be debating January 6th because apparently Destiny taking it on his face from Andrew Wilson wasn't enough. And now he's going to do it from Rob Noerr. If it is truly 6 hours, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find at some point when I catch up on Super Chats later on in the show, I'm going to find the point of which Destiny rage quits so that we can at least watch that today. But on that note, here we go. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Good. I don't know. Are we supposed to yell at each other this debate or not? It don't matter to me.
I'm always up for yelling, but no, we don't have to.
We might by the end of it. That's okay. So what was this debate? Flat Earth, gravity? Isn't that where we left off here?
Hold on, wait. Who came in here?
No, it's Rob. It is. I saw your little.
Wait, you're not a flat earther, are you?
No. I saw your little clip though of the. Was that a January 6th debate, modern day debate?
It absolutely was.
We got the good ones on our side, man.
True. Okay, wait, hold on. People say Rob is too loud. 100%.
That's just my normal speaking voice. I know you're messing with your audio. That's fine.
Well, no, because now it's Discord, so I never know who's too loud or who's not or who's. Hold on, wait 1 second. I'll be back.
Okay. Oh, I get unfettered access to Destiny's audience right now. What are you listening to this guy for? There's so much more handsome streamers like me on the other side of the aisle. Come to our side. I assure you. We got the flat earth guy. But you guys have... By the way, I still don't know how to say. Is it Kamala? I know I'm a racist if I don't know that, but I think it's Kamala. Is that right? Or disagree with this? There are
legally supported, then we get a legal person on.
Both you, legal scholars.
I had to skip ahead a little bit, so here we go.
Prosecutors on the left in the Democratic Party don't give a shit about this at all, which is why they haven't tried to use Section 3 for over 100 years. They just see it as yet another attempt in their long-standing efforts to demonize Trump and his supporters and to go after him using lawfare, as they've been doing since 2016.
Okay, I feel like you kind of give away the whole game plan with this model, but we can walk through this. Okay, so you say that Democrats want to focus on January 6th to use lawfare and dehumanize their opposition. That is a take. It could also be that people focus on January 6th because insurrections are extremely exceptional events and they are extremely exceptionally bad, especially when they are cheerled by a president. I think that if it is the case, you believe that January 6th was an insurrection, and if you believe that the president cheerled it or caused it, it would probably be a really good thing to focus on. I think that is completely and totally fair. For supported insurrections as a political tool, I mean, insurrections are political tools. You would support them, I guess, when you would agree with the insurrection, like in the case of 1776, when we rebelled against the British. You'd probably oppose them when you feel like the insurrection is done for bad reasons. I think that's totally fair. I don't think literally a single person on the planet would disagree with that. Obviously, it's not about whether or not you would support the concept of an insurrection or not. It's about whether or not you would support it in a particular circumstance. For January 6th, I wouldn't support it. When you would say that you could accept, or Andrew or you could accept my definition of insurrection, as long as I would declare BLM riots as insurrections, again, I feel like that gives away your whole game. Why would it ever be contingent upon me declaring other things as insurrections? The answer should be, or your requirement should be, it's okay that I'll accept your definition of insurrection, but you have to apply it evenly, which is fair. Obviously, if I'm going to agree to a definition, I think I would definitely apply it evenly. However, I can already predict, and we can go down that road if you want. I can already predict how that entire conversation will go. You and Andrew both know this. There is no love lost between me and BLM. If we do this debate, and if you debate this at 20 million %, you make the best possible points. The only possible thing that you can do is just move me into believing more BLM riots were insurrections. So I don't, but if we can go down that road if you want, I'd be interested in exploring it. When you say that I use a definition of insurrection that's too broad, we can also talk about that. Again, the definition that I'm using is the one that is found historically, both in law and in writing and in Congress. And if you have a better one that is more historically and legislatively and legally supported, then we could talk about that. I've never heard one before offered by your side. And then when you say people haven't used Section 3 in over 100 years, it's also possible that after the Civil War, nobody tried to rebel against the government in over 100 years. Again, exceptional circumstances call for exceptional measures.
Okay, so how about this? In the interest of fairness, I am willing to try to, as best as possible, hyper-focus on the definition of insurrection without going to things like Black Lives Matter and things like that for the first half of this discussion, if you're willing to broaden it out for the second half of the discussion. Is that fair?
Broaden it out, like broaden out what we're talking about?
So I'm saying that what you want to get out of this is to look at, was this an insurrection using the technical legal definition? That's what you want to focus on. I'm willing to focus on that. However, I would like you to reciprocate to talk about what I'm interested in talking about, which is the fact that this is being selectively applied, and your definition would be so broad as to encompass thousands of examples of insurrections that you didn't give a shit about. And in fact, you've given the rationale for why you think insurrections could be good. So at best, it's a amoral term. It doesn't have goodness or badness attached to it. And I think you're selectively applying it. But I'm willing to table
we
that
can do this,
discussion.
but I feel like I have no problem with that, but I feel like you're literally debating the worst person on the left to accuse of being too nice to BLM. But if you want to, we absolutely can. I have no problem with that.
That's fine. Okay. We can get to that specifically. So let's start on the definitions of insurrection, right? I think you tell me if you agree or disagree with this. There are multiple types of definitions for a word. So there are what we understand colloquially as sort of a society to understand what a definition of a term is. Oftentimes that could be different than what the actual legal definition of the term. So for example, something like burglary, the actual legal definition of the term burglary might be different than what the average person, when they say burglary, means. Would you agree with that?
Maybe.
That's why would you pause so long just to hit with a maybe? That's a little bit odd, don't you think?
In an area and you find a firearm right next to them, that wouldn't count?
I don't think so. I don't think that's what people today understand when they're saying the term insurrection would apply that with. For example, it's very legal in most states to open carry. I don't think exercising your right to open carry at a protest, let's say you were against the overturning of Roe v. Wade in Dobbs, right? If a bunch of pro-choicers exercise their Second Amendment rights to open carry and showed up and protest, you might be intimidated by that if you disagreed, but I don't think that qualifies as an insurrection because there wasn't planning to use violence to overthrow the government.
Speaking then to intent here, just curious, how would you ever discern in a group whether they plan to use violence or not? If, let's say, when they when they show up to do the insurrection, the other side gives up immediately because they see all the people.
Well, it would be difficult, just like there's always difficult in providing intent. If you had evidence.
Wait. I'm sorry, real quick, because this gets brought up so much. It's not difficult to do intent. I don't know where the solution came from, or if it only comes up in this. That's not true. All criminal prosecutions in the United States rely on proving intent. You have to have a mens rea element to commit a crime if it's not a strict liability or whatever offense. So you can prove intent. It's not that difficult. We do it all the time in criminal court. So just to return, because I'm asking, it seems like you could very easily, I could foresee almost any insurrection being planned and be able to say, make sure you show up, bring guns, we might have to fight, whatever. But if you show up and nobody resists, then it feels like, well, they didn't use violence.
Then you would prove, then if it's easy to prove the intent, you would show the intent by proving that their planning included using violence to overthrow the government, as opposed to just saying we're going to arm ourselves to protect ourselves if violence is enacted against us. You'd be able to prove that easily, as you said.
What if you show up with, well, here's a question, okay? You live in a house or an apartment, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's say that I go and I'm going to occupy your living room, okay? Because I don't want to live in Florida anymore. DeSantis makes me too mad. I'm going to go live in Rob's living room. I don't care if you want me there or not. I am going to bring a gun to protect myself, though. Do you think that if I show up like that, would you say that I'm intending to use that gun or no?
It's a different question.
My rationale would be, I'm showing up. I know I'm going to be trespassing on your property, maybe even breaking and entering. And if I bring a gun, I know you're going to want me to leave. And it's probably not likely that you're going to demand that you're going to be happy that I live there, right? So at some point, I feel like if I bring a gun, I feel like we're kind of I'm basically planning to use it, right? I'm kind of bringing it go ahead.
the analogy doesn't work very well because you're allowed to show up to protest something.
Wait, real quick. Hold on. This is the only question I'm going to make of you, okay? And I'm begging you, okay? Because I love you. I appreciate you. You have a good brain, okay? That's why I'm talking about this. I like you more than Andrew, okay? Please stop trying to head off my arguments, okay? I'm not, if you say something and later on I bring up a point and you're like, oh, this doesn't work, we can go back and we can amend any definition you give me. I'm not trying to trap you or crucify you on something you said. So if you want to change something later, that's fine. But don't try to give me something now trying to head off every single potential argument.
Well, that's
whenever a leftist says they're not trying to trap you, just realize that they're trying to trap you. That's I feel like that's obvious. I just had to say that.
You're absolutely correct for a variety of reasons. Me trespassing on private property doesn't mean the same thing as me going to a public protest with a firearm. I agree with you 100%, but I'm not necessarily going there. I'm just trying to figure out like how we would prove the intent of this particular thing. Like, did he plan to use a gun if I break into your house and I've got a gun on me and I know you're going to fight back? That's just my question. Yeah.
No, I would say, I still think that it's relevant to say that the analogy is far off base. I'm not trying to hedge off arguments. I'm saying that it changes the way that we analyze things, right? But let's try to not do that for the sake of this argument and say this. Okay, no, that doesn't prove that his intent was to use that gun. His intent was to commit a crime and he had a firearm on him, but that is still not in proof that he intended to use that firearm in order to commit his crime. No.
Okay, just curious. So I disagree with your assessment here, but I'm going to sidestep for a quick second and ask, are you aware, my understanding is that in criminal law, courts would disagree with you. So something that I'm pretty sure is true is if you were to break into somebody's, I'm sorry, I'm speaking as a police officer, not break in. Let's say you do no-knock warrant, you get into.
Did he just say, I'm pretty sure is true? Like, why would you use something for an argument that you're not 100% sure is true? Why would you say, I'm pretty sure is true? Like, that's, I don't know. It seems a little weak.
To somebody's house. If you find drugs in an area and you find a firearm right next to them, I'm pretty sure it's impossible in court that firearm can be charged like as an accessory to having, like using it to defend basically drugs or whatever. That's a charge that can get added on just because of the proximity to the gun and the drugs, that a court could assume reasonably that you plan to use one to defend the other and that you can be convicted in front of a jury as a crime for this. Are you aware of this, or do you want me to, we can look up particulars on this?
I'll take your word for it. I think that sounds reasonable. It sounds like something that heard. The problem I have with that is that doesn't prove that the intent was to use that gun for a specific action to commit violence. It could show that the way that those laws are written are specifically that intimidation is a factor that could be included that would be enough to make that charge. When I'm saying that intimidation doesn't mean what I think is the colloquial definition, then no, you would need to provide that there was some planning that planned to use violence in a serious attempt to overthrow the government.
Okay, then let's say that if I go back to the house example, so I break into your house and I say, I want to be in Rob's apartment or house. I want to be streaming from his living room because I want to. I'm going to bring a gun to protect myself, though. If I say instead, I'm going to bring a gun to protect myself. Let's say that instead I say, I'm going to bring a gun because I know he's going to try to fucking attack me. And when he does, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to shoot him. Would that rise to the level of planning to use the gun or no?
So
I'm qualifying it by saying, if he attacks me, I'm going.
If you had like, a statement where he'd said, he's sending an email to someone and he says, I'm going to rob this person's house. I'm going to break into their house, right? And I'm taking a gun because I know he'll try to interfere and then I could shoot and kill him. Yes, that would rise to the level of intent.
Okay, hold on. Let me just write these two down.
I don't understand why there's arguing going back and forth about a particular subject. In this one, it's, is January 6th an insurrection? I don't understand why there's so much arguments being made with what ifs. Like, and it's not just Destiny, although Destiny's doing like 95% of it, but why are we doing all these what ifs? It could be an insurrection if, aliens existed. It's like, I don't understand what is with these what ifs. Why are we arguing with what ifs right now? Like, can we just argue about the January 6th thing? I don't need to know about all these other examples, all these other fucking what if scenarios.
Okay. I don't believe there is almost no daylight between these statements of I'm going to bring a gun to defend myself versus I'm going to bring a gun because I know he'll try to attack me, and when he does, I'll shoot him. I feel like these two statements are essentially identical if we're considering the crime of like trespassing.
I disagree. I think that there is a difference in saying that you intend, that you predict that you're going to use that gun to kill someone in the commission of you committing a crime versus you saying, I'm going to go commit a crime. And if I have to defend myself because a level of violence is bore against me, then I'll defend myself. I think those are two different things. I think the latter does not have an intent to use violence or a pre-planning to use violence to commit the crime.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me get a drink 1 second.
Now, I still would like to say I'm being generous trying to engage in the analogy, whether I think is inappropriate to what we're talking about. It's not analogous to what we're talking about. But for the sake of...
Well, I'm glad that Rob notices that none of this shit matters. Like that's what I was trying to say before. But I'm glad he at least said it in his video. He's like, you know, he's entertaining the analogy. I don't know why. Because by entertaining the analogy, you're just giving Destiny more ammo that he's looking to set you in a trap. You know, the same guy who said he wasn't going to set you in a trap. Well, he's trying to set you in a trap.